Good morning, everyone. We're going to give everyone a couple more minutes to go ahead and get signed in, and then we'll get started. Good morning, Clinton. What is your cell phone number? I'm going to have Jody from our team give you a call and help you get signed in. All right, give me 1 second. Hey, Clinton, did you already receive a manual? So I just checked. I did send it to you on Monday, May 4th. So go ahead and get that open, and I just notified her to give you a call. Yes. Yep, so you want to go ahead and get all of that opened, saved onto your desktop. But for right now, when Jody calls you, go ahead and get the wireless login information document opened up. Does anyone else need help getting signed in? All right, please raise your hand if you need extra time. If not, we're gonna go ahead and get started. So today we're gonna be going over the food systems, food and beverage systems. We're gonna be going over orders, purchase report, usage report, key item report, automatic par levels, import, and prime cost. So we're going to go ahead and get started. Make sure you are signed in. And again, we're going to be working on day 2 folder. So I'm going to go ahead and get that open. Jody, if that server's not working, go ahead and use a different one. All right. So go ahead and open up your training packet and open up, we're going to be on day 2 today, and you want to open up page 15. We're going to move on to ordering. Give me 1 second. Let me go ahead and zoom out. All right, so far we've gone over daily paperwork in the labor systems. We went over yesterday products, recipe costing cards, MPG, POS import. We went over the menu profit generator, and then purchase report. Actually, we went over inventory as well as key item report and waste sheet. So we will be going over the rest of the system today. Again, if I'm going too fast, please let me know. Also, just for your reference, so if you search up restaurantsystemspro.net or Restaurant Systems Pro on YouTube, all of our YouTube videos will generate, and all of these live trainings are recorded, so you can go ahead and rewatch them on YouTube. Also on our Facebook page as well. So the first thing that we're going to be doing today is going to be ordering. Like I said, go ahead and take out page 15, and that's where we're going to start. So we're going to manually enter this order into Restaurant Systems Pro. And actually, before we get started, let me just confirm that Clinton is in. Okay, perfect. All right, so everyone go to Food Systems and go to Orders. From there, this is what the order page looks like. So you can see on the bottom grid, we have 2 plus signs. So there's going to be a difference. The first plus sign is basically the way that you filter it. The first plus sign, the only way that you can filter that one is going to be by alphabetical order or by vendor. The second one, you can go ahead and order by group, or you can do it by inventory storage location. So all it is the way that you go ahead and sort it out, also by vendor. So just a heads up. Anytime I'm teaching someone new, I go ahead and show them version 2, but just know that version 1 is in there. And that's honestly, it's mainly in there for all of our members that have been with us for a long time and are used to that original ordering system. So it's really completely up to you which one you want to go ahead and use, but just know this one's version 2. If you have your mouse over, it will tell you. Also, on top of that, you'll see under the action column, there's 2 edit icons. The first edit icon is for version 1. The second one is for version 2. So just make sure you select the correct one. What we're going to do is we're going to click on the second plus sign on the bottom grid. Again, I'm under Food Systems and I'm under Orders. We're going to click on the second plus sign and start an order. So what we're about to do is manually enter an order in the system. This is how you enter a purchase order as well, and I'll show you how to send off your purchase orders to your vendors. So the first thing that you want to do is on the very top, it gives you an order name. Where it has the order name, what I would suggest you do is you go ahead and instead of saying order for, I type in the vendor name as well as the date range. I always suggest you keep your order name consistent, and that way it's easier for you to search for it in the order system. Also, there's a drop-down box. You can just go ahead and watch my screen for this drop-down box. But for this drop-down box type, you have an option to select inventory. And then within there, after you've selected your date of order and delivery date, it asks you to select your inventory date. I can actually, let's just say that inventory on Sunday and I order for Monday for Tuesday delivery. I can actually generate with my on-hand count from my inventory into my orders. And that way I don't have to walk around since I just did inventory trying to order. So we're going to leave that as order, but just know that option is there for you. Also, we have date of order. When I select date of order, your date of order is going to be the day that you order. So for example, if I order for Thursday for Friday delivery, everyone go ahead and actually select, we're going to pretend this is a purchase order. So let's select the 8th for the 9th delivery date. The delivery date is going to be your actual invoice date. So make sure you select it as the correct delivery date. So it makes a huge difference, especially if it falls within a different week. All right. Any questions, concerns? Now next, there's a couple other options. Below this, you'll see a comment section. I can click on this little edit icon and add a comment. Also, if I do choose the option to walk around with my tablet or whatever it may be ordering, because you can order on the app as well, then you can actually turn this off, this connection mode off, and then you can walk into the walk-in cooler and create your order without losing internet connection. Now, again, before you mark it as off, you want to make sure you're in an area with internet connection. Then you can mark it as off. You're gonna go ahead and wait for it to load. Then once you're done, you're gonna walk into the walk-in cooler, for example. You're gonna take your order. Then you're gonna go out of the walk-in, make sure you're in an area with strong internet connection, and then mark it as on again. So make sure you understand that before you get started. After that, we have these little drop-down boxes. So these two drop-down boxes, you can select the vendor. For us, we're going to go ahead and select the vendor as Cisco. But just know, instead of selecting the vendor, you can go ahead and click on this drop-down box instead and view the group by inventory storage location. I clicked on it just to show you guys. You don't have to click on it. But you can see it generates the inventory storage location, and so you can inventory or you can create an order that way as well. Now, please note, there's going to be a blank inventory location right over here. When you click on that, basically what this is anything that's not in your inventory is on this page. So none of these items were assigned into your inventory whatsoever. And that's the second indicator that I was talking to you guys about yesterday. Again, we're going to keep it to view group by vendor. All right, lastly, again, I'm going to select this real quick. Lastly, after you select the vendor, to open up your actual order guide, your product guide, you can open it up using this little arrow icon. And then from there, there's a couple of different things. I'm going to expand my screen so you can see it real quick. But there's a couple of different things that you need to know of. So if you have par levels in the system, they would generate right over here. And if your par levels are in the system and you generate with your inventory on hand count, it will automatically generate with what you need to order. Obviously, there's still that human factor in it that you still need to go in there and confirm that is what you want to order because it will give you decimals. We have, again, our on-hand counts from inventory, and the order column is going to be our quantity column. So, for example, this is lemon choice fresh. Every time you order, you want to make sure that this pack size correlates with what your quantity is. So, for example, this pack size of lemons is 36 count. I would not write 36 under the order because that's asking for 36 cases. I would just do one if I needed one case of 36 each. So make sure your order quantity correlates with your pack size. And just a heads up, your pack size may be different from your actual purchase unit. Let's just say, for example, this pork butt says it's for 2 packs, but the actual purchase unit is by the 1 pound. So the purchase unit is the column that you actually need to correlate with your quantity with. We have the group type, the vendor price ID. Again, make sure if, for example, Restaurant Depot. Restaurant Depot is always going to be switching up their vendor price IDs. So that being said, you can't actually import Restaurant Depot, just a heads up. import it as an order. Because of the vendor processor IDs, you're going to have to basically make a bunch of new products when they're not new. So the next section is going to be category. This is also another tool for you to utilize and identify if there's something coded under the wrong cost of goods sold category. I'll be in the brand column. Again, the pack size column isn't as important as the purchase unit column because that's what the one is actually basing off of your quantity. That's a column that's basing off your quantity. We have the storage location where it's located in your inventory. The PU dollar price, again, make sure this correlates with your purchase unit. So for pork butt, for 1 pound, right now it says it's $1.24. Obviously, with everything that's going on, that may adjust. And then this is the last purchase unit price. All right. So what we're going to do is, because we already know what we want to go ahead and purchase and we're creating a purchase order, it's going to be a little bit different. Typically for you guys, you're just going to go down the list and then start entering the quantities for what you want to order. But for us, since we know specifically what we want to order exactly right over here on page 15, all we're going to do is click on this little funnel icon next to product name, and we're going to click on the blank text box. Again, click on the funnel icon next to product name and click on the blank text box. From there, we're going to type in the first item, which is apron. Again, less is more when you're filtering, and you're going to hit filter. Raise your hand if you need extra time to go to that, or if I need to go ahead and show you again. But from there, what we want to do is we want to look for the apron that we want to purchase, and it's actually going to be this top one right over here. From there, as soon as we identify it, we're going to go ahead and enter the quantity. Again, on page 15, it tells me my quantity is going to be 1. So I'm going to enter that quantity under this column. Now, all I have to do is move on to the next product. I'm going to go ahead and, after I've entered my quantity, I'm going to go ahead and type in, or filter again, and then type in bacon, hit filter, and then look for the bacon that I want to purchase. It's going to be this bacon slice. I'm going to enter my quantity as 2, and I'm going to move on to the bacon cup red. Now go ahead and finish up this entire order by entering the quantities on page 15, please. And again, let me know if I need to re-show you guys how to do this. And I will explain to you, actually, let me explain to you right now. So do you guys see how this is base chicken, no MSG? And we also have another base chicken. The bottom one is the one that we want to purchase, but I just want to show you the reason why it has a blue line over it is because this item is grouped. Actually, all of the items on this page right now are grouped, and you can see that under the group name column. So the reason why this middle one is grayed out is because I did not purchase that one last. So that being said, what happens is as soon as I click on that gray one, it's going to ask you, do you want to purchase it? If I do, you would click yes, and then it will allow you to actually enter your order quantity. But the reason why is just because that was not the last purchase, and it wants you to know that. So I'm going to go ahead and just enter the quantity under the no MSG one, and then continue on, and you can do the same. And when you're done, go ahead and hold off. I'm going to give everyone else about 5 minutes until 9:25 to complete this order. On the very last one, don't do anything until we're done. Raise your hand if you need extra time, please. All right, so once you're done entering the quantity to each item, what you want to do is you want to make sure that you clear all the filters. So what that means is you're going to have to click on the funnel icon when you're done with the very last product, which is chip yellow tortilla. I'm going to click on the funnel. I'm going to click clear, excuse me. And then from there, as soon as it clears up, you can go ahead and scroll, you can go ahead and do the next step. So you always want to make sure that you clear the filter, or else the very last item on your order that you filtered by will be the only item that generates for you. Let me know if you have any questions with that. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and once I'm done with my order, I can go ahead and add a comment if I'd like. But what we're going to do is we're just going to click on save and next. All right. Now, if this was a purchase order, because if this wasn't a purchase order, you'd be doing this from start to finish without this one send notifications icon. So if this is a purchase order, couple different things that you need to do. Up on the very top, right over here, this is what you're ordering. You just want to confirm by looking at the quantity column, the order column, as well as the price of that this is accurate. Go ahead and verify your work. And as long as it's accurate, like mine is, then you want to make sure that send notification is checked off if this is a purchase order. Now, before we send this off, I want you to do one last thing, and that's utilizing your purchase allotment. Again, this really depends. If you don't remember, this is on day one, or if you were not on this class on day one. But just a heads up, the purchase allotment system, that's going to be your budget for ordering. And what you're going to do on this page is on the very bottom, on the right side, it says purchase allotment. You would change it by date range. From there, you can go ahead and select the date range. If you're looking at this week to week, then you would look at it Monday through Sunday, for example. And it tells me I have actually $3,648 based off of my forecasted sales and my actuals and what I have on hand and all of that good stuff, what I have left to spend for the rest of the week. This is a smaller order, $336. That gives me the okay to go ahead and order this. So now, after I've confirmed that I'm within budget and that my actual quantity is accurate, my send notification is checked off. The very last thing I'm going to do is click on order placed. It's going to ask you, do you want to mark this order as placed? If so, go ahead and click yes. As soon as you click yes, that just sends it over to your vendor, and whoever as a manager that you put to be receiving this will have that as well. So just a heads up with that. And then let's see, lastly, what I would like you guys to do, if this is for your real restaurant, is you would export this to PDF or Excel. Also, you could export this to CSV file. But when you export this, you can go ahead and print this off and then put this next to your, let's just say that you receive your deliveries in the back door. So you can put this on the back door, and then that way, whoever actually accepts this order can initial it and make sure that they received everything. And also on top of that, they can compare prices, especially everything that's going on with COVID right now and the prices of meats going up. They can compare them and make sure those are accurate. So what we're going to do now, because this is a purchase order, is we're going to close out of this. Again, if this was not a purchase order and you're entering an order from start to finish in the system, you would go ahead and deselect send notification. You would click on order placed. And instead of closing out like we're about to do, you would just automatically click on manual price compare. So we're going to all click on close. And the reason why is because if this is a purchase order, then you're going to receive the delivery the next day. And so we actually don't know how much we need to order yet. So now all I have to do is once we receive our delivery, we're going to pretend like this is the next day. we're going to go into the food system, food, beverage, or retail systems again. We're going to go to orders. From there, all you would have to do is look for the order. And remember how I told you guys, hold on one second. Remember how I told you to change the order name to be something that looks accurate? Well, the reason why is look how easy it is now for me to find it. It's right over here. All I have to do once I receive my order, my delivery the next day is look for it. Click on this little click on this little eyeball icon. And then from there, because I have what I actually purchased or received, I'm going to go ahead and click on manual price compare. All right, any questions or concerns? Awesome. Now, all we have to do now is manual price compare, and then we can update the invoice log. For this portion of the class, go ahead and just watch my screen because we're actually going to import the what we've received, our delivery. So what we're going to do is there's a couple different things. I'm going to go ahead and open up my screen all the way. Oops, 1 second. Sorry, I did not mean to click on that. Okay, so a couple of different things. There's going to be two columns that you can adjust in this in this actual order itself. We have the RSP PU dollar column and we have the invoice PU dollar column. This invoice PU dollar column is the column that you can adjust. So let's just say, for example, this baking cup red was originally $10.75, but now I am buying it for $10.65. In order for the grand total to match up, you will have to match that kind of stuff up. So you can see now it's matched up on my end. And then after that, I could also adjust the quantity if I need to. So for example, if my invoice quantity, if the black beans, I was going to purchase 2, I never received any, so I actually received 0. I can enter a 0 as a quantity. Or maybe I only received 1. I can adjust the quantity from the invoice quantity column. So basically, anything that you see where it says INV quantity, and the INV PU dollar are the two columns that you can adjust. Also, as well as the black beans, how I said that you can enter as a 0, you can also select the item and click remove price completely. If you choose to do it with the 0, as soon as you manual price compare it, which is saving the actual invoice, it will actually completely delete itself. So that's as long as you enter a 0. So that's up to you if you want to go ahead and which route you want to go. So I'm going to go ahead and just enter that quantity as 2 again. A couple other things on the bottom grid, you also have add new product icon. It generates with the add new product window. So you would be adding the product under whatever vendor that order is for. We have the add existing product. To add existing product, you just select it. And then let's just say I want to add this alligator fillet. You can see it's a grouped item. I can select it one time, click on add to order, and it will generate in my order. And if it's a catch weight item, it will tell you it's a catch weight item. And the thing is, when I when I add an existing product into an order that's already been made, the quantity automatically goes to 1. So you have to make sure that you look at this quantity, especially if it's catch weight, and adjust it to how much you actually received. All right, and then save that once you're done. Or you can adjust it under this quantity. Actually, for some reason, I added this twice in here. Interesting. So I should not have added it twice, but just so you can add an existing product into the system. Also, very last thing we have is export Excel, export PDF, and then one more time, if you want to verify that your catch weight items are all with the correct quantity, you can just click on that, and then it will generate with this page again. Below this, we have additional cost. So right over here, you can see we have a plus sign under additional cost. From there, when you click on the plus sign, you're able to add, let's just say, your category for sales tax. I'm going to add my description as sales tax, sorry. My category would be either for sales tax, our restaurant in this demo system uses it as paper supplies, but some restaurants have an actual sales tax category. That's completely up to you and your restaurant, but just a heads up. And then we would add our cost. So let's just say the tax amount was $1.50. Once you're done, you can go ahead and click Save that. Once you save, this grand total should be the grand total with additional costs. Again, you can just watch my screen for this portion of it. Once that grand cost is accurate, then you would click on Update Invoice Log. From there, it generates with Update Invoice Log. What's the date range? You want to make sure that you select the correct date range rather. Enter the invoice number. As soon as you enter the invoice number and hit Save, it actually saves it into the invoice log, which saves it into your cost of goods sold. Also, if you remember yesterday, or actually, I'm sorry, on day 1, we went over invoices. You would eliminate the process of entering the invoice manually as long as you did it this way, which is line by line. And this was the harder way I explained to you guys of how to enter your actual order into the system. So just a heads up with that. As soon as I click Save, I'm good to go. It tells me it's saved successfully as long as I see the invoice log details on the bottom, generates a date. That's how I know it fed into my cost of goods sold. Also, lastly, we're not going to actually go over this because this is more advanced RSP, but just know you can generate invoice number for transfer. And what that is basically you're creating a transfer from one location to the other. So let's just say that your location 1 took beef and gave it to location 2. Well, you would have to create a transfer. And just know wherever you took it out from is where you're going to start the transfer from. So if I started in Birch and Vine, for example, I took it out of Birch and Vine and gave it to Blue House. Birch and Vine would be the system that you start the transfer in, and then the Blue House would be the system that has the actual credit. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and scroll down, and give me 1 second. Let me open up my file folder. All right, so what I'm going to show you how to do actually is I'm going to show you how to import an order into the system. So what you want to do is everyone go to Food Systems and go to Import. From there, again, we have 4 different types of import. We have product import, we have price compare, we have price update, sorry, I skipped over that one, and then we have order import. So on the very bottom, there is 2 types of imports. Price compare is to update your prices. I'm sorry, price compare is to update a purchase order. Order import is to enter an order from start to finish via Excel spreadsheet. So what we're going to do is we're going to do both of them actually. We're going to start with price compare the price of that one, and then we're going to move on to order import. So first thing is you have to make a configuration. And if you remember yesterday or the day before, one of those days, yep, it was yesterday, we went ahead and made a configuration for the product import. Today, we're going to be making configuration for the price compare and the order import. So what I want you to do is under price compare, that's the first one that we're going to do, we're going to click on manage configuration and create a new configuration for Cisco. So from there, you're going to click on the plus sign on the bottom grid. And then we're going to click on select files. And then in your file folder or your email that I sent you, you want to go ahead and save to your computer the import price compare purchase order. Again, import price compare purchase order. From there, after you selected that item, what we want to do is we want to go ahead and double click on it, and it should generate as orange. As soon as it generates as orange, you can go ahead and click on template name and type in Cisco. So I'm going to give everyone about 30 seconds to go ahead and do that. From there, click on Next. After you click on Next, it's going to generate with the configuration. So I'm going to go ahead and pull up the actual purchase order. Give me 1 second. And we're actually going to use a different one, and I need to actually fix this one. I forgot about that. My apologies. So I'm going to open this up just for the sake of showing you guys, but you can just go ahead and compare it on yours. So what we're doing is we're telling Restaurant Systems Pro which columns in our Excel spreadsheet match up to the columns that we need to in RSP. So the first one is going to be vendor name, and then from there, you're going to select Cisco. Under vendor product ID, you're going to click on the drop-down box and select, it's going to be SUPC. For the pack size column, you're going to click on the drop-down and select pack. Then you're going to click on the right side, since there's 2 columns for the pack size, you're going to select size. Again, if there's only 1 column in your Excel spreadsheet, that is totally fine. But you want to make sure that you leave the right one blank if that is the case. Under product name, you would select, for this one on our Excel spreadsheet, it's called description. So we're literally just telling Restaurant Systems Pro what the column names in our Excel spreadsheet are called, and that way it can easily pull that information. Brand is brand. Purchase extended price will be your extended price column. Make sure it is the extended price. That's going to be the price per case, for example, multiplied by your quantity column. Then the last one is going to be your quantity. So biggest thing is, let's see, give me 1 second. Let me see if I can pull up a Cisco invoice real quick. So basically, although my example is Cisco, there is going to be different scenarios. Give me 1 second that you may have. All right, so I may not be able to show you. All right, so what I want to explain is basically your quantity column for catch weight items, that's anything by the per pound. I'd say 9 times out of 10, if you pull it directly from Cisco, for example, 9 times out of 10, it's going to be on a separate column completely. That means that you'll have a quantity column, and then on top of the quantity column, you'll have a weight column. That weight column will tell you if it's a catch weight, let's just say 25.5, you basically have to transfer over the weight column into the quantity column if it's a catch weight item, or else you're going to import it wrong. That's the #1 thing you have to make sure you do when you're importing. So if your configuration looks like mine, you're going to click Save. When I click Save, I'm going to click on the back arrow to take me back to this main page. From here, we can start importing our delivery, what we've actually received. The first thing is this drop-down box, and I'm going to select Cisco. The second thing is going to be to select the file, and for us, we're going to select Import Price Compare Purchase Order. Again, Import Price Compare Purchase Order. Lastly, it gives me my list of orders. Again, another reason why you should always name your order something that stands out and makes sense. So right over here, you can see it automatically tells me that that's my Cisco order that I placed yesterday. And then today, I went ahead and received my delivery. So all we have to do now, after we selected the configuration, the file, and the order, is click Compare. From here, On the very top, if there's any new products, it will generate. In the middle of the page, this tells me these are my products on my delivery Excel spreadsheet, but not in my original invoice. I'm going to go ahead and select all and click on the plus sign to add it in there. Then lastly, on the very bottom, I'm going to go ahead and this is products that were on my original order, but I did not actually receive once I received my delivery. So I'm going to go ahead and select all and then hit the trash can icon. Lastly, I'm going to hit on the next icon. Now, everything that you see is going to be from my Excel spreadsheet. Lastly, we have to enter any additional cost if there was any. And you can see on the original, because I was the one that saved this and showed you guys this before, it had the original additional cost. But if this was a purchase order, you typically would not have that additional cost if you haven't received it until today. Basically, the reason why you import is it eliminates the process of going line by line and making sure every single price and quantity is accurate. As long as your Excel spreadsheet is accurate, it automatically updates that for you. All I have to do is click on the plus sign to add any additional cost if there is any. Again, I'm going to do sales tax. But you have keg deposits, keg credits. Maybe you have a couple set rounding issues. Just a heads up, because of the way our system is set up by the 3 decimals, you may have a rounding issue by 1 or 2 cents. It typically is never over. I've never seen it over 2 pennies, but just a heads up with that. So what I'm going to do is, again, our specific system uses paper supplies as the sales tax category. I'm going to enter my cost, save that. Once I'm done saving that, all I have to do is click on, actually, I'm going to give everyone about 20 seconds to go ahead and do that. So everyone click on the plus sign on the bottom grid to add your additional costs, please. And then lastly, all we have to do after this grand total matches up with what's in RSP is we have to click on Update Invoice Log. We're going to enter our invoice number. Just because this is a demo system, you will always have an invoice number. Even if it's a handwritten receipt or a handwritten invoice, you will always have one. Let's just use 05/09/2020, which is the date range, as our invoice number. But again, you will always have it on your end. I'm going to save that. Because I've already saved this previously, by the way, it tells me there's already existing invoice under this one. I'm going to go ahead and overwrite that. But just a heads up, if you're accidentally entering an invoice twice in the system, it will tell you, as long as your invoice number is the exact same. I'm going to go ahead and finish that, or save that, and then now it's all the way complete. Any questions or concerns? All right, and I will say today is the easier day of the food beverage retail system. We will probably be ending early, just like how we have been the last few days. Again, this is my first time doing this as a 4-day class instead, and it's different doing it, virtually instead of in person. So just a heads up. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go ahead and I'm going to actually show you on my end, so you can just watch my screen, how to import an order from start to finish using the order import. Again, you can just watch my screen for this portion. Then we have the purchase report, the usage report, that's my favorite report in the system, key item report, automatic car levels, import, price compare. All right, so again, I'm going to go into food systems and I'm going to go to import. On the very bottom, this very last import, the difference between price compare and order import is price compare has a purchase order attached to it. Order import, you're importing an order from start to finish after you've received the delivery. All I have to do is you would have to create the configuration. If you don't remember, you only create a configuration one time and it stays the exact same. Under pick configuration, you only have to do it one time because if your Excel spreadsheet uses the same exact columns, that's the reason why. There's a drop-down box for you to select your vendor. And then under select file, again, you would select the file of your Excel spreadsheet. And then instead of clicking on list of orders, and you would, in the purchase report, you would select an order. For us, we're going to click on import order. Actually, I need to select a different column. Give me 1 second. Looks like that configuration was wrong. All right, so as soon as actually, give me 1 second again. All right, so as soon as I click import, it takes me to this page. It's slightly different. All I have to do is on the very top, enter my order name. I'm going to type in Cisco and either the date range, or I can select or enter my invoice number since I already have it now. Date of order, you would select it. For us, we're going to select the 7th, and then delivery date, again, that's your invoice date, will be today. Now, you typically wouldn't add a comment since this is after you receive the delivery, but you can absolutely do that if you want, in case there's something that you always want to refer back to. On the very middle of this page, you have a product new column. Any new products or any inactive products, it will tell you under the action column. We have a product on file import section. So these are the products on your Excel spreadsheet. We're going to scroll down, or I'm going to scroll down. You wouldn't send the notification to vendor if this was not a purchase order. Since this is not, I'm going to click on create order. And then from there, all I have to do is click on manual price compare. Again, I do not, since I'm importing, I do not need to update the invoice PU dollar column, nor do I need to update the invoice quantity column. On the bottom grid, I'm going to add any additional cost if there is any. Once I save all of my additional costs, this total cost should be my grand total amount that I actually paid for, or I'm about to pay for. After you confirm that, you're going to hit update invoice log, enter your invoice number. Again, if this was a transfer from one location to the other, then you would, let's just say I took items out of Birch and Vine and gave it to Blue House, then I would need to do the transfer from Birch and Vine, and then I could generate invoice number for transfer to generate invoice number for transfer, save that, and then go ahead and save it into the Blue House location, for example. I'm going to save that, and then now, from start to finish, we've imported our order that we have received. Now, keep in mind, you will need to do your orders on a daily basis or whenever you do receive a delivery, because you do not want to be backed up with a bunch of orders. It will make your life a lot harder if you get backed up with a bunch of them, because then you're going to be entering 20 orders in a week, and that is not fun. All right. Any questions or concerns? Awesome. All right, so now that we've entered an order, again, because we entered the order line by line, it fed into our invoice log, which is now feeding into our cost of goods sold and budget variance report. But not only that, it's now feeding into our purchase report, our usage report, all of that good stuff. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and click on purchase report and show you what the purchase report is. This will literally take me about, I'd say, 2 minutes to show you because it's that easy. All this is a report of what you last purchased from this specific vendor. So that being said, if it's my last purchase from that specific vendor, there's a couple of different things that you can do. And this is really for you to identify what day that you last purchased this item. Let's just say that you enter the item quantity wrong in your invoice and you didn't notice it until you looked at the usage report. you can't remember what day you ordered it, so you can go to the purchase report and search for the day from here. For me, I'm going to go ahead and select the date range as, let's just say April 1st through now, and click load. There is a brand new feature in this purchase report for the last however long, for a long time now. We've had no funnel icon or no filter icon. You can now filter by product name. So if I want to filter for beef, I can go ahead and do that now. As soon as I filter for it, the first column is product name. Second column is vendor product ID. We have the manufacturer number, excuse me. We have the brand, the pack size column, the price column, and then we have for each time that you purchased it, it will tell you the day, the exact day. That way I know that I purchased this beef Kobe on the 3rd, April 3rd, or I purchased 191.9 pounds of this beef ground, on April 7th. Now I know that's April 7th. I can go back into my invoice log and then confirm that invoice is accurate or make adjustments to it. Lastly, on the very end, once you scroll to the right, you're going to see a purchase column. This is going to be the quantity amount. So this quantity is going to be against your purchase unit. We have the totals column. This is going to be against the price. So quantity multiplied by the price. We have the vendor name. So this one is Del Monte, for example. And then we have the category. Again, anytime I see a category column, that's an easy indicator for you to help you utilize and to identify which items are coded into the wrong cost of goods sold category or the wrong category in general. Any questions or concerns? All right, so like I said, it is super easy. Let's see. All right, what I'm going to do then is, because we are doing so well on time, I'm going to go ahead and allow you guys to go on break right now. We're going to go on, let's go on a 15-minute break. So you're going to come back at 10:10, and then we'll resume to the rest of today's class. All right, so again, come back in at 10:10. Actually, come back at 10:11. All right, thank you. Be back soon. All right, everyone, we are back. So let me know if you guys have any questions or concerns so far, but we're going to go ahead and move on to the next step. So what we're going to go over now is going to be the usage report. Give me 1 second. Let me go ahead and resume. Perfect. So I'm going to go ahead and pull up the usage report. And actually, let me see if, okay, never mind. Perfect. Now, I will say, actually, give me 1 second. It's just because with the usage report, I'm going to go ahead and pause my screen. Give me 1 second. I'm going to sign into a real restaurant, and we're going to look at their usage report. All right, so like I said, I just signed into a real restaurant, and we're going to look at an ideal versus actual usage report. The reason why I had to sign into an actual restaurant is our demo system doesn't have that integration function. So the usage report is going to be huge for you guys. This is something that you're going to utilize on pretty much a daily basis. So you're going to be looking at it very, very often. If you're Thursday through Wednesday, for example, then you want to start looking at this as soon as you're done with that ending inventory. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to select the begin date under usage report. And then from there, I'm going to go ahead and select the beginning inventory. Again, we're Monday through Sunday, but in the usage report, you're going to look at it Sunday through Sunday. So I'm going to select the 26th through the 3rd. You're always looking at the budget variance report and the usage report as soon as your week ends. So you're not actually looking at this in real time. And this is also going to be a huge help for you to make sure that your inventory is being counted accurately on a weekly basis. From here, what we're going to do is, I did not show you guys this because we don't have the integration access in our demo system, but you would have to manually pull your actual PMix report. Sorry, you would have to pull your PMix report from RSP into the MPGPOS import, and then you would be able to click on File Import. From there, because it was the week starting on the 27th, I'm going to have to go back for the 26th, click Search, and although my usage report is Sunday through Sunday, my actual PMix report will be pulled Monday through Sunday. All right. I'm going to select that and click OK. So for Birch and Vine, for example, guys, you guys will pull Wednesday through Wednesday usage report, but you're going to pull Thursday through Wednesday for the actual PMix report. Again, you should have my cell phone number. If you don't already, just let me know and I'll send it to you. But just a heads up with that, you can always call me. We're going to click Load Report. And then from there, after we click Load Report, I'm going to go ahead and scroll to the right so you can see the columns that we need to look at and go over the columns first. So the very first column that you're going to see in the usage report is going to be product name. Then we have our unit size column and we have a pack size column. Always base it off of your unit size column. All right. Again, because your pack size column could be a little bit different. Like look at this pectoral meat. My pack column right over here says it's 4 19-pound averages. And then my unit size is 1 pound. So always base it off of that one. All right, that is going to be big for you. Here's the pack size column, like I said. Oh, also on the very left side, I scrolled to the right. Sorry about that, guys. So on the very right left side of this, you're going to have the food, the category column. You can see these are all foods. Another great indicator for me, honestly, I'd say 9 times out of 10, this is where I identify the easiest way. where I identify that something is under the wrong cost of goods sold category or under the wrong category in general is by just looking at the usage report and identifying it if I'm sorting it by food, for example. I have my unit size column, my pack size column to the right of that. Then I have my beginning inventory, my ending inventory. Do you see how the date range is off? You can see it's cut off right over here and here. So just know it's the way that I'm zoomed in. You can zoom to the right like this if that's going to bother you, but just a heads up, always know that if you want to confirm the date range, begin date right over here that you selected will always be on the left side. On the right side, the end date will always be on the right. We have our price column. So this price is going to correlate with your unit size column. We have our purchase column. You can see, for example, we purchased 6 cases of Roma tomatoes from the 4/26 through 5/3. We have our extension column, and I'll go over that in a second. That's the column that you actually filter by. And then we have our actual column. So our actual usage is, this is a calculation to it, and you have to understand this. Beginning inventory plus your purchases minus ending inventory to give you actual usage. Again, I'm going to repeat that. Beginning inventory plus purchases minus ending inventory will be usage. All right, we have our ideal. Our ideal is going to come from our P-mix report. So that's ideally what you should have used. If I rung up that I sold, let's just say that I'm a Mexican restaurant and I rung up that I sold 5 beef fajitas and all 5 beef fajitas have 5 ounces of fajita in there, the system will automatically do the math for you. Basically, what is happening in the ideal section is every single recipe costing card in your system, item recipe, is mapped out to your POS button. So think about your POS system, and especially with you guys, Birch and Vine, I know that you have a ton of recipes. So that being said, basically anything with an upcharge in your POS system means that it's going to be, that it is indeed going to be a recipe costing card matched. All right. And even if it's something that's like 2 ounce side of rice for $2, then that's then you're going to go ahead and make sure that you have a recipe costing card correlating with that. Also, on top of that, just a heads up, please note that anything with, let's see, everything in your system, it really depends on how you bring it up, because if there's a modifier, it's going to ring up a little bit differently. All right. All right. So last thing I need to show you on this usage report is this extension column. Now this extension column, this is going to be how you filter by. We have our ascending and descending column. Ascending is going to be your negative usage. You always want to sort by ascending first. All right, let me do that one more time. You always want to sort by ascending first, and that's going to be your negative usage. So for example, this potato hash brown diced. So it's 36 pounds right over here for the actual case, and it's $52.46. This is how you read it and understand it. So it's telling you I started with 2.1 cases. I only purchased 1 case, and I ended with 10 cases. So I grew by 6.9. That means that out of nowhere, 6.9 cases showed up. So does that mean my beginning inventory was wrong, that I didn't count for those 6.9 cases? Or does that mean that I'm missing a purchase? Or does that mean that maybe instead of 10, that this should have been 0.10, or it should have been 1 for the quantity column? All right. Under the granulated garlic, for example, this one's a 25-pound case for $170. We started with 0.35, we purchased 0, yet we ended with 1.13. So did we find another bag of granulated garlic? Those are the questions that you want to ask when you're looking at negative usages. Also, keep in mind with negative usages, purchases do have a big effect on there if it's not in the system, or if, for example, you see how this granulated garlic is grouped. Maybe I got a new one this past week and I needed to group it. And so because it's not grouped, it's showing up as a negative since the purchase doesn't correlate with it. All right, and then the very last part is going to be the variance column. Oh, sorry about that, not the variance column. The very last part is going to be filtering it by descending. Now, descending is going to be a little bit confusing for you if you've never done this before. And I will say with the usage report, it is going to take you a couple times to do this on your own to fully understand it. Or a couple times with me, it does not matter. All right, so when I sort by descending, this is my top used items. Basically, the entire point of the usage report is to, 1, make sure that your inventory is accurate, and make sure your cost of goods sold is as accurate as possible, and 2, to make sure that we're not over portioning and whatnot. So a couple of different things that I see. You see how this beef brisket, how we started with 0, we purchased 315 pounds, yet we ended with 0. I know the system, and I can already tell that they actually purchased a different brisket. All they need to do is group that brisket together. And that's actually going to help them weigh out their food costs. Now, another thing is, let's see, give me 1 second. Do you guys see how this ground beef? It's 418 for the actual. So we, according to our inventory, we actually use that much. Our ideal usage was about 313. So we're off by exactly 104.7 pounds. That means I'm either over portioning it, I forgot to count it in inventory, there was a station that I forgot to count it in, and that could mean a lot of different things. Could mean it needs to be a grouped item, it needs to have a purchase combined in there. So just a heads up. Anytime you're fixing a descending item, that's lowering your food cost. Now, any questions? All right, give me 1 second. Let me sign out of here and sign in to the demo system back. Give me 1 second. And then also, guys, just a heads up, on the very bottom grid, you do have export to PDF, export to Excel. And then on the very top of each column, you have these little filters. So we have this filter in this column right over here. No problem, David. Have a great day. But just a heads up, ask Renee or any of them, like ask Lee or one of them for my cell phone number. And all of you guys from Birch and Vine, you can always contact me via cell phone. All right. Have a wonderful day, David. All right. So we only have 4 other sections to go over. The next one is going to be key item report. Now, you too, David. Now, key item report, that's going to be anything that you want to track on a daily basis. So beverage systems, I'm going to go to key item under that report. So just a heads up, key item, you can absolutely do a key item for food and beverage systems, anything by the each or by the weight, it does not matter, but I will give you a disclaimer that it's 10 times easier to go ahead and track something on a daily basis if it's by the each rather than by the weight. Because, let's just say, for example, if I'm a Mexican restaurant and I have beef fajita, and that beef fajita is literally in 15 different recipe costing cards, I'm going to have to create an Excel spreadsheet, and I'm going to have to basically write down each item that beef fajita is in an Excel spreadsheet. I'm going to literally have to enter the quantity sold on a daily basis for each of those 15 items. So I just wanted to give you that disclaimer. It's absolutely okay if you want to go ahead and do that, but I just want to let you know it will be a little bit harder than counting something by the each. So key item report is anything that you're having issues tracking. So maybe in your inventory for the last 2 weeks that your ideal versus actual was 20 cases off or 20 bottles of tequila off, whatever it may be. You want to start tracking that then. What I'm going to do is under key item report, I'm going to click on create new report. And then from there, there's going to be a drop-down box for AM, PM, and day. So there's 2 different ways that you can go about this. You can split this up by bartender for this example, since we're doing it for the front of the house. Or so if I have 3 bartenders in one day, I could split them up for all 3, and all 3 of them have their own individual key item report. Or I can have my morning manager and my ending manager at the end of the night all basically combine their key item report together. So you'll have the beginning opener go ahead and inventory their opening inventory, and then you'll have the ending the ending closer to go ahead and enter ending inventory in the system. So that's really up to you. I'm going to go ahead and select day. Now, before you do anything, what you need to do is you're going to click on blank PDF because this is a clipboard system. Now, because this is a clipboard system, you're going to have to print this out. Up on the very top, you can write the shift in the day. And then on the bottom, you can go ahead and we have item, we have absolute, Allagash, and Amstel. But basically, what you're going to do is you're going to explain to them on the key item report which items that they need to go ahead and inventory. And you're going to tell them that they need to go ahead and inventory their beginning inventory amount. And it has to correlate with the portion description. So this is by the bottle. We have to enter any prepped or purchases amount during our shift. So if I purchase another 12 bottles of the Absolute during my shift and I received it during my shift, I can go ahead and enter that. And then lastly, at the end of the night or at the end of my shift, I'm going to enter my actual ending inventory. I'm going to write down my actual ending inventory right over here. So lastly, when that bartender for this example is done, they're going to hand this over to the bar manager. The bar manager needs to go to the POS system or pull that information. If your POS system has already been closed out, they can pull it the next day from RSP. But they need to go to their POS system and write down the actual sold quantity amount for the items that you're trying to track on a daily basis. So again, opening inventory, prepped or purchased, you need to go ahead and do the actual ending inventory, and then the manager has to enter the actual sold amount. Then they can start entering it into Restaurant Systems Pro. Now, once you're ready to enter it into Restaurant Systems Pro, on the very top, go ahead and select the date ranges. From there, we're going to scroll to the right, and then there's a couple of different things that we want to go ahead and do. So all we're going to do is fill out the information. We're going to track it with the Allagash. So this is Allagash 12-ounce bottle, and my beginning opening inventory was 24 bottles for this example. My prepped purchase amount was another 12 bottles that she wrote down. And that gave me a total of 36 bottles during my shift. Lastly, I need to enter my ending inventory, and I ended with 15 bottles. And my actual sold amount was 26. Oops, sorry, give me 1 second. My actual ending inventory amount was 16, for example. So if that were the case, again, I opened with 24 and I prepped and purchased another 12 bottles, so that gave me 36 bottles in total. My actual ending inventory at the end of my shift or at the end of the day was 15, but I rung up that I only sold 16 bottles. So where did the 5 bottles go, and why am I short by $12.43? Now it's up to you to save this report by using the floppy disk icon. You can print this out, and you can go over to your bar, whoever was closing, whoever worked that shift, and then you can ask them, hey, what's going on with my Allagash? Did you miss some bottles? Give them the benefit of the doubt. Did you miss some bottles when you were counting inventory, for example? All right, now the next thing is going to be, the next and last thing is going to be automatic high levels. And when I say last thing, the last thing in the food, beverage, and retail system. So we've gone over everything besides automatic high levels in food, beverage, and retail systems. So automatic high levels. As long as you have history in your system, I'd say 3 to 6 months worth of history, then you're good to go. You can use automatic high levels. You can use a shorter date range, but I gotta be honest, it's not going to be as accurate because it's pulling your averages. But again, automatic high levels, even if you pull them from 6 months worth of history, you still have that human factor that I want you to go in and make sure that those are correct automatic high levels. All right, so first thing I'm going to do is select my beginning and ending actual sales date. This is where you're going to select the 3 to 6 month date range. I'm going to go ahead and you don't have to do exactly 3 months. You don't have to do exactly 6 months, as long as it's within that range. I'm going to do December through now. Actually, let me select 3rd. For my beginning sales forecast date and my ending, so I want to do this for the upcoming week of the 10th, the 11th through the 17th. So I can go ahead and select my date range. From here, under the category name, I'm going to select food because I want to do this, create automatic high levels for my food system. And then the vendor will be, let's just select Benny Keith. From here, when I click load, the system literally does everything for me. It pulls all of my past history. Oops, I don't have any products. It's not letting me do it under that vendor. 1 second, guys. Let me do it under Cisco. All right, so you can see as soon as I selected Cisco, the system pulled the history for me. I have my product name column, my category name column, my vendor name column. I have my pack size column, my purchase unit price, my number of units used within that date range, as well as my projected par level. You can see I have been mentioning that it generates it within decimals sometimes. So that's up to you. If it does 0.77 of a case of eggs, that's up to you to identify if you really want to buy 5 dozen, 1 full case of it, or do I want to go ahead and split a case and only get 3? All right. After you confirm that all of these are accurate or that you want to go ahead and save this, all you have to do is click on Update Par Level. Now, if you remember, when you're updating a par level, it's always based off of your order date. So I order for Monday for Tuesday delivery, Thursday for Friday delivery. I'm going to select it on Monday and then click Save. All right. So lastly, now all I have to do is I can start utilizing my par levels in my order system, like I showed you how I can generate with my inventory on hand count and my automatic par levels. And then if you wanted to, you could also, if this is the quantity, I did the date range for the full week. And so I'm only going to add it 1 time for my par level on Monday. But if you need to, you can change the date ranges and do it for a smaller beginning and ending sales forecast date. All right, guys, so we are on to the very last portion of our class, which is going to be the cost of goods sold, the budget variance report, budget variance files, and end of month inventory. So we are almost done. Under cost of goods sold, that's going to be the very first section I show you. Basically, everything that we've gone over for the last 4 days are going to be, everything is for you to be able to see your budget variance, prime cost, cost of goods sold on a weekly basis. So under my cost of goods sold report, I'm going to select the beginning date of my inventory as well as my ending date, so the 26th through the 3rd. From here, this is what it looks like. All right, I have my beginning inventory, my purchases, and my ending inventory. Again, it's your beginning inventory plus your purchases minus ending inventory to give you your usage amount right over here. When I'm looking at this, that's the very first thing I look at is my usage compared to my sales. Also, like I said, you have your sales, and this is by cost of goods sold category only, but I have my current cost of goods sold percentage right over here. I have my average inventory amount, my inventory turn. So basically, inventory turn is how many times you fill up and empty your shelves in a week on a weekly basis. I have my inventory change. So you guys see how there's $1,233 inventory change for liquor. If I'm not purposely trying to increase my inventory, then that automatically stands out to me. I have my budgeted dollar amount and my budgeted percentage and my budgeted dollar amount. So for example, this cost of goods sold category of draft beer says I'm only at 10.94, but I should be at 23. So I know that there's something that's automatically wrong. Maybe I'm missing a purchase, or maybe my inventory was never entered all the way. Also, on top of that, you can see I have $4,164 in sales. And then on top of that, I only used $455. So my budgeted dollar amount was $957.92. My actual is $455 for my actual usage to give me my variance of $502. And then also, if you look at, for example, liquor, you guys see how this is negative by $669. I'm negative in usage. What that means is my ending inventory, you can see my ending inventory is higher than my beginning inventory and my purchases combined for the week. So that's the breakdown of the cost of goods sold section. Next, I'm going to go to the budget variance report, and this is the report that you're going to utilize on a daily basis. Again, I'm going to select my beginning and ending inventory. Also, something I did not mention is on the top of cost of goods sold and budget variance report, there's a compare icon. You can compare cost of goods sold and budget variance side by side. Also, I have export PDF, export Excel, and if, for example, if your bonus program structure is based off of RSP numbers and you pull the date range, I can actually click save this file, and it will permanently save this information in case someone tries to go back and changes the numbers so they can get their bonus. It actually saves it under budget variance files right over here. And it's permanently there now. Unfortunately, we had someone do that in the past. So now that function is in there for you, so make sure you utilize that. So lastly, we have all of our different categories to give us our prime cost. Again, this is a download system, so this may not be as accurate. The first column that you're going to see or section is going to be sales, and I have my projection at $59,785.45 and my actual at $60,978 to give me my variance of $1,193. So I basically did more than what I predicted I was going to do by $1,000. My cost of goods sold categories, you can see, are right over here. Same exact calculation, just not as big of a breakdown, just the very basic information. I have my actual, so you can see that same exact information that we just looked at, like we were negative by the liquor or that we're so under budget for food and everything else. We have our cost of goods sold target. So this is what you should hit based off of your sales, and our variance. So for example, we were $502 under budget for draft beer, $492 over budget for food. And what I want you to do is when you're looking at these numbers, especially if you're looking at the total, if I was over budget by $1,000, I just want you to keep in mind to multiply that by how many weeks there is in a year, so 52 weeks, because that is a lot of money that you would be losing if you're $1,000 over on a weekly basis in total cost of goods sold. So the variance is right over here, and it's really the total, it's going to be the variance column and the percentage column that you want to focus on as well. So when I automatically see that liquor is is negative, for example, I automatically know that I need to go into my ending inventory and my beginning inventory and confirm those counts are accurate and make sure I'm not missing any purchases. Or that my draft year, when we're still under budget like that, most of the time you're missing an invoice in RSP. Now, payroll. Your payroll is going to be all based off of your labor allotment, actual and labor target. This is just going to be variable labor. So when I scroll down, you can see that I'm $12,040 over budget. I'm sorry, I'm $12,040 actual usage for labor, but my target was $11,994. And so I'm actually $46 over budget, which is not bad at all. Now, scrolling down, because what we're looking for in labor is, yeah, we may be over budget for some categories like the line cook by $6,000, but we're under budget for shift supervisor by that amount. As long as you're weighing each other out and the grand total is close to target, or as close to target as you can get it. So now departments. This is where you're going to be able to account for the salaries, managers, benefits, taxes, and insurance, and all of that good stuff. Your benefits, taxes, and insurance, that's going to be a percentage. So you can see on the very bottom with all of my departments combined, I'm hitting a 29.29% labor cost, and that's $53.03 over budget. Now, after that, since all of these are accurate, you can see that I am going to be at 51.62% prime cost for the week, and my target is 53.5, as long as my cost of goods sold is 100% accurate. Any questions or concerns? All right, so the last thing is going to be end of month inventory. Now, your end of month inventory, this is going to be for accounting purposes, but let's just say, for example, I know that you guys have a ton of wine in Birch and Vine, and so this is how Dennis goes ahead and enters his liquor inventory and his wine inventory, for example. Actually, I don't know if he's still doing that, but I know that what's happening for wine. I don't believe liquor. Now, under end of month inventory, the first thing that we're going to do is generate or select the month that we're going to generate this for. So for this example, since it's May now, I'm going to select April. From here, it tells me to choose my inventory. So if I pull up a calendar, I just want to show you my ending day of the week was on the 30th. So I had an inventory on the 3rd and on the 26th. You see how my the 30th was on a Thursday, and the closest inventory from the 30th is the 3rd inventory. So I would be selecting the 3rd inventory then. And basically what the system is going to do is it's going to backtrack those 3 days that you did not have inventory for, and then it's going to do the math for you based off of your history. You can click on load, and then from here, it gives me my cost of goods sold categories. It gives me my last inventory date and my last inventory amount. It gives me my usage, my sales amount, my actual sales amount, my estimated usage throughout those 3 days for this example. I have my purchase amount, and then my estimated end of month inventory. Again, this is a bulk amount. So all I have to do now to add it is click on add end of month inventory right over here. And then it tells me that it has been created successfully in the food, beverage, and retail systems. This is actually a brand new feature that automatically pulls this information for you. All right, guys, so don't forget that on the bottom of every single page, there's going to be the training and technical support phone number as well as email address. On the bottom left-hand corner, you have the chat icon. I want to thank you guys so much for joining today's class. Please email me, call me, whatever it may be, if you have any questions or concerns or would like me to go over this individually with you. And I hope you have a wonderful, safe Friday. Thanks, guys, and good luck on reopening. Bye. Have a good day.